eruptions and violence. Um, I mean, I had a fairly, comfortable upbringing, but in the midst of it, it was, yeah, even though martial law was, lifted, but there were still remnants of martial law as I was growing up. Um, at 13 years old, my father died in front of me. It was a boating accident. And about 3 months after he passed away, I found that I was adopted. And my mom kicked me out of the house and she said, go live with your dad's family in America. Um, Came here, lived with my family, and went to high school, graduated, and I was on my way to the Marine Corps. I had plans to go in Marine Corps. Um, at 18, I committed my crime. A good friend of mine got raped, and I ended up killing the man who raped her. And on my 19th birthday, I was arrested, charged for murder, and at the time, for about a year and a half, I was looking at the death penalty. By the time I was 21, I was tried, convicted, and sentenced to life without parole. Um, After 25 years, my sentence was commuted by then Governor Jerry Brown, and I was released in June of 2019. Um, while in prison, what led me to turn my life around was just one day, it just I was in a cell and it just hit me. It's like, okay, there has to be more to life in prison than just doing life without parole. Um, just so happens, I found that a friend of mine, her son was at the time he was detained. He was arrested. He was I mean, funny now, it's legal now, but at the time he was smoking weed in the park, and just so happened a squad car rolls by and they just all left. They just left him by himself. Um, After hearing that, I felt responsible for him because before I got locked up, I used to look after him, used to babysit him, and I was just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I just felt responsible. So just so happens, right when this was happening, there was a group starting at the prison where I was at in Lancaster. It was a youth diversion program. So I was asked by a couple of the guys, hey, we're trying to balance it out, racially balances. We don't have any Asians. Would you be interested? And just so happens this was going on. So I'm like, okay, I need to do something, out of I just felt responsible, for his life because I knew where this was going to head to. I knew what was going to happen. So I joined the youth diversion program and I was a member for more or less 10 years. Um, the programs that actually helped me was, especially during that time, especially being at a maximum security prison, and my custody was maximum security. So our resources, our programs are very limited. So the very first classes that I've taken that was offered was creative conflict resolution and anger management. And I actually took the class twice. Um, and each time, I learned something new. Um, some of the classes that I've taken over the years, while I was in prison, there was a program called Creating a Healing Society. It was ran by the Catalyst Foundation, and this was actually the first time somebody pointed it out that, hey, have you guys ever thought about that? What led you guys to prison? That was trauma, and then you guys committed your crime, and then now you're thrown to another trauma, which is being life in prison. So that was the first time that was brought up, that there wasn't any break. There wasn't any time for us to process things, what we gone through and when we were young and what led us to our crime and what led us to prison. Um, that was one of the things that helped me. And one of the other things was, my spiritual practice. I'm a Buddhist, but for me, it started as a meditation. So meditation helped me take a step back and really reflect on everything that I went through growing up and while in prison. Um, Besides that, my future goals and my plan is, one is I really like to continue my Buddhist studies, and also as I told the Board of Prison Hearings, the commissioner, I do intend to work with at-risk youth, and whether it's me getting paid or not, but it's something that I just feel that I need to do. It's a lifelong process for me to be able to help these guys go through and make sense of what they're going through, because to put it plainly, I've been there, done that. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Irv. I appreciate it. You didn't have to cut it too short. So I hopefully you were able to, explain everything that you felt comfortable sharing. Now, Megan, you and Irv got introduced. And so, Irv, do you want to talk about how you got introduced to Megan, or Megan kind of lead that and kind of share how you guys are partnering and working together?
I'll touch up on it, since I'm making up for being late. I actually was introduced to Megan. It was a one friend of mine. He actually made it out also, and he sent me the link and said, "Hey, there's this program is starting. You might be interested." So I joined the very first meeting that she held via Zoom, and from there, that's how we kept in touch. And she introduced me to you, and this is here I am, and I'll leave it all the rest to Megan.
So to chime in, thanks, Irv. I'm so glad you're here. So yeah, so as Irv said, he got introduced to me, and he attended our first meeting that we held in September. And he stayed after the meeting, and we were chit-chatting obviously about his his background and kind of how he got to where he is. And as I know, he didn't share too much with you guys, but he has an amazing story, as you guys could hear, right? And I just instantly there's people you just connect with, right? And so I really wanted to get Irv involved, back in the community and in programs. And so over the time, that I've known him now, we've been talking about a variety of things. And so as I touched on in the presentation, we're currently working on a mentorship program. And this is actually stemming from half a brainchild idea that I had, and then talking with Irv. And so he didn't go fully in depth, but they had created and ran a mentorship program while incarcerated for youth to come in, and they were able to share their stories with them and talk about their experiences, and how they got to where they are, and why you shouldn't be doing things that you're doing, right, to keep you out of there. And so Irv and I were talking, and we're like, hey, how can we recreate that on the outside? So that's something that we're currently structuring and putting together, and we'll be working with various organizations to launch that. And Irv, as we're getting funding, we're looking to actually hire Irv to run that, because he still has connections of people coming out who would also be great at sharing their stories to the youth. And then side tag, the other thing I was excited about was at our very first meeting, as I shared, was about the voting project. And afterwards, Irv and I, were talking, and he had said if Prop 17 passed, he was going to register to vote. And so fast forward, I'm working about my day or whatnot, and I get a text from Irv that not only did he register to vote, but he was voting in his first election here in Orange County. And so he was putting his ballot in the box. And so that was super exciting for me to see, fast forward, that it was actually directly then impacting the community. And so that's another project, again, as we're expanding, I'm going to be leaning on Irv to run as well, because again, he is tried and true, right? He's the person out there that has done it and come back, and it's affecting. And as you guys hear, he's a great story. So that's how we're connected with Irv. And like I said, we'll be looking forward to utilizing him and connecting more with the community, using his his background, his experience, and his, expertise.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Megan. I figured you could provide more context. I think he's being a little humble, as he said. So does anybody have any questions for Irv? Irv, was there anything else you maybe wanted to share with the rest of the group?
The only thing I just wanted to add was actually another friend of mine, and I mentored him in prison, and he participated in the youth diversion program. He's actually out, and he's going to Cal State LA, and I actually met up with him last year in November, and he mentioned to me that one of his professors, they want to start a program in LA, just like we did in prison. Basically, talking at-risk youth. So, I mean, as you guys know, with this whole COVID thing, so everything was to a halt. So, yeah, just to add to what Megan was saying, yeah, I know a handful. I'm going to say a lot more than a handful of guys that are, they still want to continue on doing the work and talking to at-risk, youth. So, and hopefully, we get this thing going, and I can just pull these guys from LA County to over here in Orange County. So if any questions, I'm please ask any questions at all.
I have a question. So speaking of mentorships, it's definitely, I think, for our population, one of the biggest tools that helps individuals succeed and just even have a soundboard. What do you think you've learned about yourself doing that mentorship inside and now coming out?
For me, it's here's one of the things that I've learned over the years. It's everyone has a I guess stereotype or misconception of, first impressions. They see this. For me, what I've learned is, and this has always worked for me. When I talk to these kids, and I don't call them kids, I just, youth or whatever. And I used to get teased by the group because my original partner and I, they would always tell us, what are you guys doing to have these youngsters open up to you guys? For us, we just tell them, hey, I don't see you as a kid. I just see you as one person to another, as another human being. And part of that too is from my own experience. I remember a lot of things that was said to me by my uncle, because he never talked down to me, So I use that, and that's the way I approach to talk to these youngsters. So for me, just to see them as one human being to another, not kind of set aside the age or their background or where they came from. And for me, that's always helped me, you know, even out here now after, doing 25 years and making it out here. And, I just talk to people, and whether it has something to do with technology, I just ask them, hey, excuse me, I need your help. And I don't know, it just works.
Awesome. Thank you, Irv. I have one question. What was like one consistent piece of advice you would give to the youth that you would speak to when they would come in?
One thing that I've always shared, and this applies, for, throughout my time in prison, it's like, hey, it's never too late to do the right things, and all you can do is just keep trying. So for me, I people tell me, hey, you're doing good, and I just say, I'm just trying. And that's all I'm doing. It just keep trying, and never lose sight of your goals. I mean, there's always going to be challenges, but always keep that in mind, and just always try to do the right thing. I mean, it's not always going to be easy.
Those are good words of advice. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't easy. And I think that I'm glad that you are committed to helping at-risk youth, because it's really important that we reach them at that critical stage in their life to help prevent them from, going into that life where they could, you could save them almost before it really gets bad. So anybody else have any questions for Irv? Or just kudos?
Just one last thing. One thing that I would always share to the youngsters, and I would always tell them, and this goes with a lot of the guys that I did time with. I would always tell them, we're so, especially for those of us that was in prison. I would always say that it's easy for us to do the wrong things, to make the wrong decisions, because it's like, I hate to say it, it's like a habit, but the consequences are hard to live with, and that's what I always tell them. Hey, it's hard to do the right things, but you do not want to be sitting in prison, and I mean, fortunately I made it out, and what I've done, taking another human being's life, is something that it will never go away. It's something I have to live with, and it's something that I would always, what's the word I'm looking for? It's something that I always had. I mean, I just feel that for the rest of my life, it's something I have to make up for, no matter what.
Well, and you are doing that by giving back to the community and by helping youth. So, you are doing, good things despite, the one choice that you made to make that, when you made that decision. But that doesn't mean that you don't deserve the right to, help affect other people, not make the same choices that you made. So thank you so much. Does anybody else have any questions for him? We got a lot of applause in the chat box. If you want to check it out, or there's a lot of people, saying thank you for sharing your story and for the continued good work you're doing in the community. So does anybody else have any updates they'd like to share? Lori just gave you an applause. All right, so no more updates, and we've, we went out of order, so I apologize, but hey, that's what we do. So one thing that I would like to talk about is that before we leave, we get to leave early, yay! I always try to be mindful of everyone's time. Our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, April 28th. So it's always the last Wednesday of every month from 10 to 11:30. You can attend the meeting in person if you want to. I know it's a lot easier to attend virtually, but if you're craving that human interaction, you're more than welcome to come in person. You can, come say hi to me. Anybody else is going to come in person, but whatever you feel comfortable with. I know that a lot of us are returning to doing certain things in person. Social distancing and everything is, accommodated here at my office. But I am wanting to do a survey to send out to all of the partners, and it's really just to understand what gaps are in the community right now, kind of consistent things that we're seeing from maybe our clients. Because we have the extended unemployment benefits and things like that. I know that, oh, thank you. Yes, someone said it should be May 26th. Thank you. I guess I didn't update my slides, so I should probably just stop sharing my screen. So, because April 28th is today. So thank you for sharing that with me, since I obviously didn't catch that myself. So yes, it will be May 26th, Wednesday, May 26th. Squirrel brain, I apologize. So the survey for the community, so kind of consistent things that you're seeing, gaps. Again, because of the unemployment funds, since they were extended, I know some individuals are having a harder time getting new clients and engaging with them, and especially some of us still aren't going out into the community, you know, which is you know, completely valid for social distancing. So, you know, I'm going to be sending out a survey. If anybody has any questions that they would like to be asked, you can either say them now, and we'll make sure that we put those in that survey, because we're going to be sending it out to all of you know, our CAP partners. And then Megan, I don't know if you want to send it out to your list as well. But I think it's really important that we can share this information with everyone a part of the group, so that you can have a voice and share consistent things that you're seeing out in the community, so that we can try to really figure out how we can overcome those obstacles, you know, as we're trying to dig our way out of this pandemic and really get everyone the help that they really need. So if anybody wants to share any questions that they would like to see, you know, you can put in the chat box, or you know, just unmute your mic. Anyone? All right, so no one has anything, but feel free to email me. I'm going to, like I said, send out a survey. I'm just gonna figure out just kind of what I've been hearing from community partners, kind of things that they've been noticing, and just seeing if that is consistent across the board. So Megan, I'm sure I'll chat with you offline and see if there's anything that you would like to ask. Sabota says housing, homeless services. So I know housing has always been an issue in Orange County, but yes, we can definitely put a question in there about housing.
Megan?
Yes.
Hi, this is for Megan M.
Oh.
For your paint night, is it actually tomorrow, the 29th? Because
Yes.
Today's the 28th?
Yes.
Oh, because it said,
28th? Yeah,
it said the 28th. Yeah.
Tomorrow night.
I thought, oh no.
Story of my
Nice
life.
seeing you.
If I didn't mess up a date somewhere, it wouldn't be me, right? So yeah, it's tomorrow night.
I think it must be a Megan thing, since I forgot to change my slide, because I just update my slide deck for every meeting. So I apologize, everyone. So yes, the next meeting is May 26th. So if anybody has any questions that they'd like on the survey, again, please you know, email me, or you can always call or text me. Most of you have my information. So without further ado, you know, thank you all for being here. Thank you especially to Irv for sharing his story. I'm glad that we got to hear it. We got to have you on, so I really appreciate that. And Megan, thank you for sharing more about what Hire is doing. I know since you guys are, you know, you're not new, right? You're a familiar face, but Hire is new to the community. I'm just so glad that you were able to utilize the platform in order to share what services you're providing, and then the different meetings that you have, because they are really informative. And I really, like I said, encourage each and every one of you to attend whatever meeting fits into your schedule, or is you know, applicable to the services that you provide or the clients that you serve. So thank you so much. And I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you next month.